All right. So I was going through some of that shit. Yeah, don't text your girlfriend when you're drunk. If you got a homie, take that nigga's phone. Edit that out. All right. I wish I had a homie who took my goddamn phone out of my hand, nigga, because I was, oh my God. Anyway, so I'm going to have to go with that episode again. So y'all probably wonder what the fuck I'm talking about in the first place. So in the first episode that I'm going to have to do all over again, so here we go, is basically just, kind of going over the situation that I basically just got out of. So, I was in jail for 3 months. Yeah, that's how this shit's gonna start. My girl put me in that bitch, all right? Yeah, some of y'all probably thinking, nigga, I know. Don't say anything. But as a man and who has integrity and believe in, who I am as a person and shit, and really try to be a stand-up person, I was wrong in a lot of those things, and I'm not going to point fingers and say where she was wrong because, two wrongs don't make a right type shit, and then she's a woman. You all know how that shit go. So, I'm the one who, man, we always wrong. It don't matter who fucking what, we the ones who fucking wrong and shit. So, you know how women are, but they ain't, okay. So, with that said, I was in jail for 3 months, all right? I got put in there, basically for, how can I say it? Let me go from the very fucking beginning, basically. So my girl didn't put me in there. I mean, she technically did, but she didn't, because it really wasn't her fault, but I was already into some shit already, okay? From a previous roommate that I had, we're in roommates, and she just so happens to be a female, okay? So to make a long story short, here we go. I'm about to get into the story, and I know, don't fucking judge me, and I know the way it looked, okay? However, that's not what it was. So basically what I'm saying is, so I had a roommate, a female friend. My whole plans were to join the military. I'm still joining the military, but right now, since I was in jail for 3 months, I had another story for another time. Keep it going. I gotta wait a little bit longer. It didn't stop anything. I just gotta wait. So, with that said, so I already got into some other shit with a previous roommate. Me and my ex, or I have to say ex. I'm still trying to get used to saying ex. I'm so used to calling her my girl, but my ex. Basically, edit that out. They don't need to see me smoke. My ex. So, I had a roommate. I'm gonna have to edit this out. This is gonna be crazy. So I had a roommate. We were roommates. We were having a fall. Now, of course, you ever have roommates, paying rent and then finances and things. This always becomes a problem because you never know if that person is going to be able to, help or, not even help. Just carry their own fucking weight. There's nowhere to put it, man. As simple as that. We weren't together. She wasn't my girlfriend. We had an agreement to live here and to pay rent, and I was going to leave and go out to the Navy. And she was going to take over the lease, and, that was it. We're going our separate ways. So during that time of process of me looking for an apartment, because I asked her, because she was in a situation where this chick, okay, all right, let me go back. Now I got to go back. So this is how I met the girl. I'm not going to tell y'all her name, but I hope she sees this. So we met at like this, what they call, because I'm new to the area that I'm in the area. So they have, when I was moving here, I didn't know too much about the area, so I wasn't too sure if, where I was living was the cost of living very high, and the fact that I wanted to kind of save up a little bit more money to, get me an apartment. So I was staying in this, this lady, she was renting out her house. She had a 4-bedroom house, so she rented out the rooms. I rented out the master bedroom. I was paying $1,000 a month to stay there. So this is where I met this girl. She was renting out the other room. I think she was paying like $700 or $800 a month or something. I don't know. Some shit like that. Not much. But, so that's where I met her. She moved in and shit. I didn't really pay attention to her because she's not my type. She tall. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, but she ain't my type. Let's just put it that way. Not nowhere near it. So we met. I guess her and the lady that was renting out the house, they were bumping heads. I'm at work every day, so I don't see what's going on. I'm working 2 jobs at the time, 16-hour days, 80-hour weeks. So, I don't know what's going on. All I did was just come home and sleep, get up and go to work and leave. So I didn't see what was going on, but I guess they were having a falling out. And because the girl that was my roommate was arguing with the lady who was renting out the house, trying to tell her how to do things in her own house, when the lady's like, well, I understand, and we are paying for service, but at the same time, this is my house, and certain things kind of, this is what she expected as the rules. And when you're renting something, there's rules. I mean, obviously, it's not like, oh, because I'm renting here, you got to do what I say. No, like, we're technically kind of living with that lady, and she's renting out her rooms, basically. So, but me and that lady, we really got along real great. She was a real nice, sweet older lady. She looked out for me. She cooked for me sometimes, and she really enjoyed me being there. But her, like I said, we're falling out. So when I come home one day, go in my room and stuff. And then, of course, this girl, I almost said her name, she came up to me and tried to talk to me about, I guess, the situation that was going on or whatever. I'm not really listening because I really don't care, honestly, at the time. I'm minding my business. I'm just here renting out a room. I'm about to move the fuck out anyway. So to make a long story short, that happened. I felt a little bad before, but the weirdest thing happened somehow, and yeah, that, I don't know. I felt like I got suckered into some shit. But anyway. So, yeah. So with that said, that was it. She got, I felt a little bad for her, because she was saying she didn't have nowhere to go. She was making it seem like her family didn't care for her and whatnot. So, it's me being me, I'm not a bad dude. My thing is I treat people the way I would want to be treated. And if I was in a situation, I would want someone to help me. So that's how I thought, So with that said, she, I talked to the lady, give her like an extra week or two to figure out what she was going to do, because the lady's like, you got to get the fuck out, basically. You know what I'm saying? But I was nice enough to talk to her. I'm like, sure, I don't know where to go. I'm at work every day. Like I said, I work 2 jobs, 2 8-hour shifts, 16-hour days, sometimes more than 16 hours. Shit, I'm 20 hours, depending on, if I'm done with the work. And 80-hour weeks. So I was like, you can stay in here for 2 weeks, figure out what you want to do. Because, I work 2 jobs and I'm just coming here to sleep anyway. Sometimes I wouldn't even go home. Sometimes I would just literally just sleep in my car and then just go to work, literally a couple hours, because literally they only got like 4 or 5 hours sleep, if that. So I would get off. I would basically, my shifts were, so I would go to work from 10 in the morning to 7 at night, and then I would go to my other job from 8 to 6 in the morning. So that should tell you how much sleep I got. So, I would just I sleep in my car, or sometimes I would drive and, want to take a shower, or, just maybe lay down in the bed. But knowing she was there, I just, slept in my car. But then finally those 2 weeks came up. She didn't figure shit out. Nothing. She still didn't save any money. All of a sudden, she's sitting there walking around in her bathrobe, not trying to go to work. All of a sudden, she's sick. I'm like, bro, you ain't got nowhere to go. You not even going to work, and you sick. And she was sitting there, and I come home, she's sitting in my room. So I don't know if she thought I was going to take care of her or what. That was not happening. So, so with that said, she got put out and she got to go to the hotel, and I kind of left it at that, because then she ended up pissing me off, because that's when I started to kind of see that she was maybe just a little bit irresponsible. Okay. So, me being me, she was in the hotel, and she'll call, or I'll call to check on her, because like I said, that's just who I am. I'm just seeing if you're all right. I'm not, trying to see anything. So I'll just call, check on her. She all right. But she was always like, crying, or, just like in a bad mood. And I felt bad. So I was like, look, I'm trying to get my apartment. You know what I'm saying? Well, basically what she told me, she was, she actually found a place. Okay, excuse me. I'm getting ahead of myself. So she found a place somewhere on this side of town that we live in. She was staying with a friend, I guess, or whatever. But she was sleeping on the couch or whatever, because she finally was able to, migrate, because she got another job. So that's what happened. So, I took her, dropped her off at that friend's house where she's staying. But again, she was living in hotels. But she finally found a friend who allowed her to stay or whatever. So I guess I don't know what's happening. I told her I was getting an apartment. She said she was sleeping on the couch and all this extra stuff. So I was like, okay, well, look, well, I'm getting an apartment. You know what I'm saying? We can get a 2-bedroom. I said a 2-bedroom. Remember this when I say 2-bedroom, because I'm about to get into the rest of the story. 2 bedrooms, okay? A 2-bedroom apartment. I'm going to say this one more time. 2-bedroom apartment, okay? But she said she didn't think she can afford that, because I remind you, I said I was going to the Navy. So that's why I, advised for staying. I said, when I leave, you can take up the lease. So again, I said, let's get a 2-bedroom apartment. When I leave, you can find a roommate to help you pay the rent. Y'all can pay him. But she was like, well, what if I don't find a roommate? I don't think I can cover the rent. And I was like, So I was like, whatever. So I was like, so I was sitting here, at first I wasn't even going to get an apartment with. After that, she was already pissing me off. I'm already frustrated. I'm sitting here trying to work around her, and I'm ready to sign this paper and just move on. You know what I'm saying? So finally, we came to agreement, you know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, it was annoying. I was like, look, you about to be homeless. But then finally we came to agreement. This where I'm currently at now. But it's a 1-bedroom, okay? So, again, I said, let's get a 2-bedroom. There's another place I wanted to stay, which is the exact amount that we're paying now. But we're going to get a 2-bedroom for the exact same amount because it was based on income. And I told her to put her income because I was making too much at the time, and that way we could have got approved, and she could have just had it, and it would have been in her name or whatever. But she didn't want to do that or whatever. I don't know. Irresponsible. So I was trying to set her up, basically, trying to just be a friend, just set her up or whatever. And then after that, you on your own, you figure your shit out, and I'm out my business. I'm in the Navy, hoo-yah, and I'm gone. You dig? So that was supposed to happen, but it didn't. Okay, it didn't. So we got the 1-bedroom, you know what I'm saying? Moved in. Okay, bills paid, everything. So because I try to pay bills, ahead of time. So I paid bills at least a month or two ahead. So we at least had a month or two to not pay any fucking bills. You have 2 free fucking paychecks I basically set you up with, and you ain't got no money? I digress. Another story for another time. Okay. So I'm gonna have to edit that out. All right. So with that said, after that, so we're in this apartment now. We got the apartment. We're living together, right? So I'm working. I have my 2 jobs. I went from 2 jobs to having 1 job because I ended up losing my first job, which is my main job, which was actually my career, which is something I was striving for. But unfortunately, they got me out of there, and that's another story for another time. I would definitely get into that. Okay. So with that, I end up, needing money to still come in. I was still working at my second job. However, when I was looking for another job, that job felt like, I don't know, leaving. I don't know what the fuck they thought, personally, but I ended up, pretty much giving them my 2 weeks, and and they basically told me I couldn't even finish my 2 weeks. They said, we're all right, thank you, we're not gonna need your service. But they let the white boy finish his 2 weeks, but not me. Okay, I'm gonna edit that out, but I meant that shit. But anyway, because I was going to Pepsi. I had a second job. I got hired at Pepsi. Okay. But with that said, when I was working at Pepsi, and I'm just in the meantime, I'm just working these jobs, just to kind of keep money coming in. Because again, I remind you, I was joining the Navy, so I was just trying to keep something to keep me busy. So with that said, I was working at Pepsi. Pepsi was cool, but what I was doing, I was a loader, so I was loading all the, basically pulling all the orders and shit and loading them up on the truck. However, I ended up pulling my fucking back, and when I did that, it killed me, man. Like I was out. I wasn't out. I was still working, but I was hurt for like 3 weeks. I felt like almost a month. So I'm still working. I was already there for like 3 months already. So I'm sitting there thinking like, look, man, I'm not gonna be able to go to the military if I hurt myself. So right there, it was like a big decision. So I ended up putting in my 2 weeks with Pepsi, and I ended up getting hired at the job that my roommate works at. So, with that said, I went there. But in the meantime, let me go ahead, because I'm getting ahead of myself. Because I still got to get to the point of, why my girlfriend left me. So I just want to let you know we still on the subject, all right? I'm just telling y'all the story. But, so, with that said, we're living together for them, few months or whatever already, and already we're having problems living together, okay? Because, I'm used to living on my own. I have my own thing. I'm a bachelor. I've been by myself, single for good. Before I met my girlfriend, I was single for like 5 or 6 years, enjoying life, doing me. All right? Look, being me, doing me, being a man, all right? So, and I have my own shit, so I'm used to, having my own stuff, staying by myself. So it was kind of new, kind of moving in, especially with the woman. I mean, I've lived with women before, but it was a long time. But usually, the last woman I lived with was, anyway, that's another story for another time. We'll get to that. So with that said, we're already having problems. It was coming problems with bills. I guess she felt like since, we were living together, because she felt kind of entitled, I guess because of the attention I was giving her and things like that, which really wasn't anything special. It was just me just being nice. That was really it. So with that said, I started to realize she really wasn't responsible is where I'm getting at. Living here and things like that. It got to the point where that 2 months was gone, and then here I am asking her for, rent. And she's like, oh, well, I don't have it. And I'm thinking like, bro, how you don't have rent? You was basically had a free month, and I know how much you get paid. I know how much you make. So you're telling me you don't have money, and you don't have, and I remind you, she doesn't have any kids. She don't have no bills, no car, nothing, just a cell phone. And she can barely keep that motherfucker on. So I'm thinking like, what is your excuse, man? Like, you make $1,100. See, I think it was $1,750. Ain't a lot of money, but if you add that up, I think after 2 weeks and shit, and you get checked, that's like $1,100, maybe. I don't know. That's how much I got the first time when I worked there. I got $1,100 check. So, no, it's $1,000. So you telling me you ain't got no money? Like, so, but she got weed though, and everything else in here, but you ain't got no money to pay bills. So right there, we were having problems. Because I'm like, I told her, I'm not your man. I'm not anything. I'm not going to take care of you. And right there, that's probably what fucked it up. So, but with that said, I wanted her ass up out of here anyway. So I was trying to figure out a way to get her out of here. But in the meantime, I was already kind of talking to my girlfriend, or my ex at the time. Okay. So it had nothing to do with my girlfriend getting together. It was just the fact that I didn't want her here, and I knew that I had a girl that I liked, and I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable with me coming home living with another woman. So with that said, I wanted her gone. So with that said, I did whatever I could to try to get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we came to agreement. That didn't work. I tried to get her off the lease. A lot of things, okay? So, but then I guess we finally came to agreement. Or actually, no, we never came to an agreement. What happened was we came to agreement for her leaving, but I'm like, you're not going to live here rent-free. If you're going to be here till October the 1st, then you need to make sure you pay September's rent. You're not going to be here for a whole month of 30 days and then think you're just going to bounce and not pay anything. That's not how it works. But that's what she did. She sat here for a whole month, not help me with a goddamn thing, living here. And what she kept doing, threatened to call the police every time. Every time. Okay? So I got to a point where I was like, man, fuck this bitch. She ain't about to have me coming to my house. Ooh, I'm going to have to edit that out. Beep! Okay? That's some anger right there. But I was like, Forget this. She ain't about to make me feel like this when I come home. So I'm coming home drinking and shit, trying to drink myself to sleep because I don't want to deal with this girl. You know what I'm saying? So right there is where I start picking up the drinking problem. I'm already, I already like to drink. Now I'm really fucking drinking every day after work. Come on, man. All right. So, with that said, one thing led to another. On the 1st of September, like I told her, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to be here in October if you're not going to pay the rent for September. Your ass need to get out. So, no, it was August the 31st. I went to jail September 1st. I was in jail 31st to September 1st. You know how it blends. If you've been in jail before, it blends in, all right? So, with that said, it was like August the 31st, you know what I'm saying? Rent's due. She not home because I was out the night before. I just got home maybe that morning because I was with my girl. Yeah, you know what I meant. God damn it. We were together the night before, and she just dropped me off the morning before. Not even a few hours, maybe an hour or two. Not even that long, because we were up all night, and I was going home just to get a little shut eye because we were gonna meet up later again. So, with that said, I come home laying on my couch and everything, so I sleep on the couch. I remind you, we had a 1-bedroom. I need to get back to that because I know I said 1-bedroom. You're probably wondering what's going on. So with that said, we got a 1-bedroom apartment, okay? Like I said, I was leaving for the Navy. I told her she could take over the lease, but I'm sleeping on my couch, okay? On the couch. So we're not sleeping in the same bed. We're not sleeping together. None of that. Nothing. Again, because I was interested in the girl, and I did not want any of this shit to get in the middle of it. So I'm sleeping on the couch. Again, I let her have the bedroom, the master bedroom. And that's why she really felt entitled. Because, and she also was on a lease. So she, for whatever reason, she thought she was fucking head of household, which is ridiculous. But it don't matter who's head of household. I'm the head of household because I'm the one paying the rent in this motherfucker, you dig? All right. So all right. So with that said, so I didn't want her to feel uncomfortable. I really want her to feel comfortable. I wanted her to start coming over, where we can start really spending time together. Really just try to have something, you know what I'm saying? So, and I didn't want her to that girl to interfere with what we had going on. Bunch of drama, shit like that. So, with that said, of course, things got out of hand. She made a big deal, bunch of lies, making it seem like we were in a relationship. Just trying to just really ruin what I got going on with my girlfriend and just ruin me for whatever fucking reason. You tell me, I don't know. You know what? I know why, because I stopped allowing her to have access to me because I saw how she was and I started to treat her accordingly. And that's what happened. So, and she didn't like that. So now I guess she felt since I had a girlfriend that was the reason why I was treating her like that, which is complete bogus because it's not, okay? It's her actions and how she was acting. My ex didn't have anything to do with what was going on, okay? Nothing whatsoever. So with that said, that happened, okay? Finally, August 31st. Okay, so she didn't pay the rent. I'm getting everywhere. Let me go back to part. She didn't pay the rent, okay, on the 31st or whatever. She came in. I guess she was packing her stuff. I guess she was going to leave. So, that's what I was watching. She was packing her stuff, leaving and everything. I'm laying on the couch, right? So I'm not giving a fuck. I'm actually kind of happy. So I'm like, shit, I'm about to call my girl over here, nigga. Yeah, anyway. So, with that said, I went tripping. But when she was leaving, she made a scene. She was packing all her stuff, asking me where some laundry detergent is. I don't know. I don't care about no fucking laundry detergent, nigga. Edit that out. I don't know. I don't care about laundry detergent. Why would I know where your laundry detergent is? Just trying to pick a fight, okay? So she comes in there. I'm laying on the couch. I'm not even watching TV. TV's on. I'm laying on the couch. I collect action figures, by the way. That's my thing, okay? So, I have my action figures all on my TV stand where I put my TV and stuff and everything. And I have my little action figures there and things like that. So she comes in there and just throws all my shit on the ground. Woof, you know, just, where's my soap? I don't know her soap. She found her soap, by the way. Anyway, so didn't know where it is. Where's my soap? Knocking shit down, okay? So I'm pissed. I'm ready. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why? Like, get your shit and leave. You leave and fucking leave. Like, what the fuck? Why you gotta make this shit? You know what I'm saying? I guess because I didn't make a scene like she wanted, so she felt like she needed to kind of get me riled up. Cause at that point, I didn't care. Like leave, bruh. I'm trying to start a life right now with this thing, right? Boy, you tripping? Like, nigga, go. Like, so. With that said, yeah, she knocked all this shit down, whatever. So she was trying to leave. She was not trying. She was. I was ready. So with that said, I said, I don't know where your soap is. And then me and her arguing and shit, cussing. I got it all on video, by the way. I made sure I filmed that shit because, you know, my girl, she's smart. She said, make sure you film that shit. And I did. I listened to you. All right. But it didn't work. So with that said, that day, all that happened. I call the police. She calls the police. Okay? Same time. They said they got back-to-back calls from both of us. But nothing happened to her. They said they got mine first, but I guess she had... Okay. Let me calm down. Okay. With that said, so I called. I tell them, look, this girl, because she hit me with a bag. Actually, she threw my book bag on me. She knocked all my action figures down. I'm pissed off. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to put her through a wall. I'm going to be 100. I'm ready to fucking DDT this motherfucker. Like, nigga, I'm trying to Stone Cold Steve Austin this bitch. But I didn't. That's why? Because I had my girl in my mind, and last thing I wanted to do is go to jail and all that extra shit because, you know, I want to be with her. But I still went to jail. And that's what she wanted. So, with that said, you know what I'm saying? I walk out the house. I call her. She's the first person I call. Like, baby, man, she tripping. She's saying yes and all that. So I call her because, you know, I know the cops are on their way. But she actually didn't answer the first time, but she called me back. Okay. And then I told her what was going on. And so all that drama happened. Apparently, she said I put my hands on her. Or that's what the cop told me. He said there was a mark on her arm. A little red mark. I want to sue that motherfucker so bad. Okay. So, I still haven't seen this discovery. Okay? So, he coached her. He probably said that because he saw my girl and he saw me. So, that nigga was ready to put us in jail anyway because they don't like niggas out here. Okay. So, I'm trying to explain to the officer. Mind you, I got this on camera too. So I'm trying to talk to the officer and everything. I don't know what was told, but apparently she said I had a gun. I'm walking around with a gun to the front office right now with a gun. So the officer comes in the office, in my leasing office, with his hand on his gun. If it wasn't for the landlord or the leasing lady, I probably would have got my ass shot. All right. So with that said, but luckily, you know, that didn't happen. So I'm telling the guy what's going on. I'm trying to show him the video and see how this girl's just being irate, just throwing stuff, breaking how she hit me. I had a mark and stuff on my face. They took pictures of my face or whatever. That guy's like, I don't see anything. Bro, I'm like, I got a big ass red bruise on my face right here. The little guy who comes take the pictures or whatever, but he was probably hating or whatever on me because you know how they are, especially when we black. I'm going to be 100. And I'm sorry, I'm talking to my people at this point. Why are you detaining me when I called you guys to get her out of here? And then let me remind you guys too, on top of that, I called the police maybe a few nights before that because she was tripping because, she was just being her, doing her. So I called them to ask if they can get her out of here, and they made her leave. But they said they can't make her stay gone, but they can make her leave tonight. So I guess she felt since I called the cops that time, she wanted to get me in trouble, but they just made her leave. She had to get a hotel. She wanted me to pay for her hotel. I said, I'm not paying for your hotel. I don't even want you here. You figure it out. You got a job. But of course, she thought it was all about my girl. So anyway. So, because that's all I kept hearing. Oh, you and that why are you tripping over me and her, bruh? Like, you just need to just fucking figure your shit out and just stop worrying about what's going on over here. But I don't know why. And she probably liked me, but I never even gave her any increment or anything acknowledging that the fact that I liked her in any kind of way like that whatsoever. Ever. 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 I hope you see this. Ever. Okay? So, she crazy, mental. I'm getting to that too, okay? She even admitted that she might be bipolar, but I'll get to that one. Because I have that on recording. Anyway, that's another story for another day. We're going to keep on subject. So, with that said, with the cops there, of course, now they're detaining me. Luckily for me, my girl shows up right in enough time. She had me in cuffs, man. I was so happy to see her. She was looking so good. You know, just regular, too. Just looking regular shit, but just thick and juicy, just black, beautiful. Anyway, all right. That said, I was pissed. I was ready to fucking turn the goddamn Incredible Hulk on these motherfuckers. And I'm talking about the red one, nigga. I'm talking about General Ross on these niggas and burn them up. All right. But she calmed me down. She said, shut the fuck up. And I did. Because she the only one who could talk to me like that. All right? She said, don't say nothing. She said, I'm going to get you out. And she did. I love that girl. Now, y'all probably thinking, you got a good one. Yeah, I did. So, now I'm getting to that part. So, with that said, she got me out. You know, things were kosher for a little bit. I mean, we're good. You know, we're thinking the picture a little bit, but not necessarily. You know what I'm saying? Literally right after that. No, not right after that. I think we were good for a minute. We were. But then, you know, I started letting the stress, because then, okay, so let me get into that. So I went to jail. You know what I'm saying? I ended up going to jail. I ended up getting a family violence charge, okay, which is bullshit. She's not my family. I didn't put my hands on her, so now I got a fucking charge. I don't have a record, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm clean. You know what I'm saying? Really, you know, nigga trying to get his shit together type shit, dig? All right, so I go in, I get this family violence charge, misdemeanor type shit. I'm like, are you kidding me, for an assault? Like, you know, I'm pissed, you know what I'm saying? Because now I'm like, I really should have put my goddamn hands on her. That's literally what I was thinking. So, I'm at that. So with that said, I go to jail. I catch the charge. Like I said, my girl got me out. She a writer. That's when I knew. I was like, I'm marrying this bitch. Straight up. Oh, man. But, because she a writer. And that's something I realized. You know what I'm saying? And, yeah, I'm not going to be getting into details because then yeah. So I get out. You know, I got the charges and shit. Family violence. They put me on some shit called pretrial or whatever the fuck. I never heard of that before. How you gonna put somebody on probation before they even get charged with anything? That's another way that Bexar County tries to make more money off people, because this county's so goddamn crooked. I just told y'all where I'm at. I don't care. It's the worst fucking county in America, and it's shit. That said, it just made me want to switch my whole rate. Dealing with this situation, you know, I wanted to be an IT specialist. Now I'm going into JAG, being a paralegal and working my way up to being an attorney. You know, just changed my whole perspective. I really want to help people. Not only just, you know, other people, but, you know, my people as well, you know, and I feel like, you know, there's certain things that that people, you know, who are in those positions overlook or simply, you know, don't care, you know what I'm saying? And one thing about me, you know, I have this thing, which is probably, you know, my, like, I wouldn't say a weakness, but I have this thing where I care about people, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, if I can help, I will try. You You know what I'm saying? And that's just something that, I don't know who, like, that's just something I always watch, my grandfather do. You know what I'm saying? He'll go out his way for people and things like that. And if he can help out, he will. Feel me? So, yeah. So that's basically what that is. You know what I'm saying? I really want to help people. Not only do I want to be an attorney, I'm thinking about politics. So, there's a lot of things that, I feel like, I'm always talking about, but yet I'm not doing anything about it, or, trying to talk to other people. So I'm like, maybe this is what God's put me on this path forward to really, give me, show me my calling and, put certain people in my life for a reason. So with that said, I decided to change and not really change because I haven't really been able to, change it yet because I was supposed to go to MEPS on the 23rd, but I ended up going to jail on the 1st. So I really didn't change anything, but because I didn't even pick a job yet. But with that said, I'm going to make sure that, that's what the job I get, so just remember my name because you will fucking see me. But, so with that said, she got me out. I got those charges. Whatever. I didn't get charged. I haven't been indicted for it yet or anything at the time. So it's just, that. So I'm on pretrial. So not even, I don't know, a fucking, like maybe a day or two, I'm getting called to put a tracker on my leg because this chick said I reached out to her. Because I was asking for her money. So, with that said, they put a tracker on me. I have a tracker on. Okay? So I have this tracker and shit. It's completely fucking stupid. Because I can't even go take my girl lunch. I can't see her. Because it's at the same place. Because she knew what she was doing. She knew, me and my girl worked together, by the way. She knew. We see each other every day. She probably saw us happy because she did. She saw us walking together. We're at lunch or whatever, or we're going up to the break room, and she just like out of nowhere. I remind you, when I started working, I've never seen this girl like at work at all. Like, and we lived together. The only time I seen her was when I came home. But at work, before me and her, I never saw her. But all of a sudden, me and her dating, I was seeing her every other day. Okay. And so that's what it was. She was hating. So, which is, I don't understand. But yeah. So I think she was really just jealous because my girl was fine. That's really it. That's the only I can think of. Like, why you hating? Like, why you mad? I'm not, like, I don't know. And we weren't having sex, okay? I know that's what y'all thinking. We weren't. It happened, we did in the beginning in the house, okay? I'm gonna go ahead and put that out there. But while we were living together in this apartment, nah. So, with that, it's a lot. So, so with that, yeah, like I said, I was seeing her every day. For whatever reason, she was checking out me and my girlfriend at work. And then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I have this tracker on my leg. Well, before the tracker. Okay, see, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, we're going to rewind and just go all the way back. We're going to edit this too. So, I get out of jail. I'm on pretrial, okay? No one at work knows I was in jail except for me and her, okay? And the other chick who was my roommate. So just me and my girl and another chick. Or my ex. So, that's it. So I went in there like shit was all kosher, you know what I'm saying? I think I went to jail, like, I think luckily for me, I got out on a Monday and it just so happened to be a holiday, so it kind of worked out, you know what I'm saying? So I went to work and when shit happened. Everything's good. Next you know, I'm fucking, I get called into the office. Okay. And basically, them telling me that they gotta suspend me because of a situation that was going on. So I'm like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? I couldn't understand, you know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was my roommate because it's like, we don't see each other. We didn't see each other, nothing. But then all of a sudden, yeah. So, and we're not even working in the same project at the time too. But I guess she felt the need to go to HR and report me about the situation. One, because she knew me and my girlfriend worked together and she's seen us together all the time. So she was hating. So I guess she wanted to get me fired. So she went in there and told them what was going on. So with that said, they suspended me. Okay, I don't know, for 2 weeks. I got fired basically, but that's how long it was before I heard anything from these cocksuckers. So, yeah, so I get suspended. Next time I'm getting called, not even after that, to get a fucking tracker put on my leg. Because she said I done reached out to her. I got fired. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm at home. No job, all right? Nothing. And then on top of that, I was told you I was going to the Navy, right? So that's on hold. And that was kind of like, my whole future plan of getting certain things that I'm, trying to do as far as buying a house, buying land, and, just really getting myself set up to, for future things that I want to do with my life. So that was part of it. And then, I just so happened to met the woman of my dreams. So it just all just fucking felt like it was working out for me. Like, I was like, God, thank you. I was like, man, is this why you brought me here, to meet her and to do this? And this is it. Like, I was like, all right, for sure. You know what I'm saying? So I was motivated. And then all I had to do was turn around and see her, a beautiful smile, nigga. I was extra motivated. So with that said, so all that's on hold. I get fired. You know what I'm saying? Again, got the girl of my dreams. And so I'm thinking like, fuck, everything's just kind of either over or it's on hold. You know what I'm saying? And I'm looking at her thinking like, man, I just want to make this girl happy. I just want to be her everything. Right now I don't feel like I can even provide because the future that we're talking about is on hold, but I'm panicking and tripping all in my head. You know what I'm saying? Because I really love this girl and I really want to be with her. So I'm, kind of, a little just in my head a lot, basically. Kind of overthinking shit. And then on top of that, I came here, I'm thinking like, fuck, I have this job, everything's on hold. What I'm gonna do? I gotta so I'm trying to get jobs, So at first I wasn't really tripping. I was like, whatever, I get another job. So as I'm looking for jobs, and I had an opportunity at USAA, decent. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, and then on top of that, me and my girlfriend, we were expecting something. So I just wanted to be ready, So all that was kind of hitting me. So with that said, applied, I'm in USA. Like, I literally already have the job. Like, I'm in there. Like, I have it. And then all of a sudden, the background comes back. Pending charges. They didn't hire me. Didn't get hired. Fuck. So I'm sitting here like, man, what am I gonna do? And I got a little money saved, but I like to spoil my girlfriend. She ain't like that though. That's not again a reason why I love her. Very simple, easy to deal with. Anyway. So with that said, I'm in my head. So I'm like, whatever. She tell me apply for another one. I'm letting her know what's going on. Apply for another one. That's how she is, G. So I'm applying. So every job I apply for. So I'm just applying for, little call center positions again until something happens and we can get this case behind me and I can leave. Because I couldn't leave because of what was going on. So with that said, I applied a few other jobs, decent jobs. I got this one job that I'm working from home, paying me $20 an hour because of my experience. They hired me. I'm in there. I'm fucking in there. The background comes back. They didn't hire me. Okay. Then again, another job. I think it was paying me $18 an hour. Background comes back. They don't hire me. So now I'm panicking. Okay. I'm tripping. I'm like, fuck. You know? Again, you know, I'm me is me, being a man, you know, and I'm older, a little older. So I'm, you know, I'm used to kind of having my shit together a little bit and kind of having my head on a little bit. So it was kind of a little different feeling to kind of be in this situation because I've never been in this type of situation as far as having charges, not being able to get a job. And then the fact again, like I said, me and my girlfriend were expecting something. And then on top of that, she has children of her own. I have my own child. And, you know, I just want to be able to provide for, you know, my family that, you know, I was possibly going to have. So I'm over here, you know, all in my head and shit, thinking like, you know, I don't want this girl to leave me. Blah, blah, you know, I can't do anything. I can't provide. I don't have shit going for me at the moment. You know, she can just easily leave, you know, but she's not like that. But again, we'll get into that. So I kind of pick up a little drinking problem. Again, I already like to drink, but now I'm drinking more because now I'm in my head. I'm in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, you know, and then me and her were kind of like bumping heads because of the whole situation with my roommate and what was going on, because for whatever reason, which is, I'm going to tell you now, you should never have did that. And that's not my fault. Okay. For whatever reason, and I'm going back again, guys, but we'll get back up front. All right. So for whatever reason, she felt like she needed to be friends with my roommate, and they started chatting, and I don't know. But with that said, she was calling her and aggravating the shit out of her, and she got tired of it, and I got fucking, and she was taking it out on me a little bit, you know what I'm saying, which is kind of understandable because it really had nothing to do with her, but she was stressed out from shit she had going on in her own life that, you know, that was kind of just adding more fuel to the fire, basically, with the shit I had going on. So you know, and I understood because I can see the stress on her face sometimes. We had that up because she wasn't smiling, and I love to see her smile, so I knew something was going on. So So it was kind of getting there, and I knew it. So I was just like kind of just, you know, in my head, in my feelings, you know, which at that point, that's when I felt like I either should have took a step back from her and let her know, like, look, I love you and I don't want you to leave and I don't want to lose you. So I probably should take a step back and let me figure this shit out. And then we can try to start this shit again. That's what I should have did. And versus all this other extra shit. Or the other option would have been just been a strong nigga and not drink and try to just figure this shit out. Which is what I was trying to do, but on top of that, I'm drinking and, you know, me and her going, you know, it's just a bunch of things. And it's not an excuse. And I don't ever want to make an excuse for why, you know, things happen the way they did, or an excuse for someone to be out here drinking because you're in a certain thing. But, you know, that's what I was going through. And that was what I thought was helping me coping, but really it wasn't. It was really just enabling, you know, feelings that I had from other places that was kind of coming out and taking it out on my girl. And that's why she left me. Okay. So with that said, oh man, I kept pushing this shit. You know, she was pissed off. I mean, she was gonna come back. You know, I just let her be mad. That's how she is. Like she got to be pissed off. You got to give her time to be mad and let that shit process and marinate and all this extra shit. She one of them women. Okay. And I knew it, but I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. In my feelings, we got a little argument one day or something. You know what? That's another story for another day. I'm gonna save that one because I want somebody's opinion. Is it wrong for me to show up to bring my girlfriend food? All right. Anyway, remember what I just said. Another day. But we were kind of easy. Yeah. All right. Another day. I'm not. So, yeah. So she left me. You know what I'm saying? Me calling, you know. But she didn't even leave. I thought she left. But then she really did. Okay. So I'm all in my feelings and stuff, calling, texting, you know, being annoying as fuck. But, you know, I was in my feelings, man. I'm loving this girl. And I was reading the text message. I read something to you earlier. You know, and I don't know, man. And like, I don't even want to apologize for it anymore because, like, I feel like, you know, saying sorry and apologizing for that is like, it's really no apology that I can really offer that would really, how can I say, like apologizing and saying sorry, like, I don't think there's any words for that. Like, because, you know, I can sit here and say I'm sorry all I want and try to apologize and shit like that. And really, it's like, I didn't give her time to even process anything. And, you know, and then her parents got involved. So that I really was fucking embarrassed by that. Because that's something I didn't want. You know, if anything, I wanted them to like me. She's not over was I just trying to, you know, win her over. I'm winning over her family, not over her family, but her kids as well. Because I'm the new guy coming in. You know, I'm sure, you know, that she's slowly, surely bringing me around. So, yeah. So I pushed the issue. Pretty bad. Calling, you know, and things like that. And, you know, and just like emotional. Like, and I'm not an emotional individual, believe it or not. Like, I get real, like, I like to say I'm passionate because I'm an artist, you know? So I'm very passionate, but I'm not emotional because I hide my emotions very well and I'm very logical and things in that sense. So with that said, my logic and just went out the window and basically my emotions kicked in. This nigga got my shit crooked. Hey, but so with that said, she calls the police on me. Now I got a second family violence charge, which I didn't put my hands on her. Nothing happened. So she lied and said that I forced my way in her house and gave her a bloody nose and blacked her eyes. Some bullshit. I have the statement somewhere, but it was complete bullshit. They knew it. They coached her to tell her to do that shit. Okay? I'm not stupid. Because them cops saw that ass, boy, and they was like, oh, we got to save this one. Boy, she gifted. All right? Nigga, let me say it. Let me tell you something. All right, listen. So, with that said, so with that said, yeah, a few times, okay? A few times that happened. Which is understandable. I'm gonna let it slide. I'm not pissed off about none of this shit because I understand. But certain things you fucking over exaggerated, girl. If you see this, y'all kind of took shit out of proportion a little bit. I understand, but certain things in there, you just needed to talk to a nigga. That's it. But I get it. So. I didn't process any of it while I was in jail. So, But now I am. So now we're getting to the juicy part because I feel like I'm everywhere. So I just want to go ahead and get straight to the point. But yeah. So I'm in jail, right? You know what I'm saying? She put me in there. Which she told me she'll do it. She said she would do it. I didn't believe her, so I said, man, I kept calling. I was like, you ain't gonna do it. You know, if you love me and you gonna really put me in jail, girl, like, come on. But again, I understand. And then I also felt like she was being influenced by other people around her as well. And I felt like it kind of, you know, made her feel like she had no choice or whatever. So it's all right. I get it. You know, again, but again, I'm in my feelings. So, you know, I guess, you know, and it scared her, which is understand. I mean, she ain't scared of me, but how can I say it? She ain't scary, but she's scary. Like, she ain't scared to the point where she's scary, where she trying to hide. She's scared to the point where she gonna fucking take you down. That's scary. Okay? Survival instinct, nigga. That's why she a G. I love you. All right. So, understandable. But yeah, so I go to jail. I'm in jail, right? This whole time I'm in jail, I'm so mad. I'm pissed off, bro. I'm cussing her out to fucking from here to goddamn Timbuktu, wherever that's at. I didn't have no time to process anything in jail because I didn't want to. I wanted to be pissed. Know why? Because I didn't want to come back home and be calling her and shit. And again, she's the first girl I ever fell in love with, and I didn't want to feel this way anymore. So I was trying my best just to hate her so much. But my dog, Smallwood, shout out to my dog. I see you soon, my nigga. He, you know, we talk and shit, you know what I'm saying? And kind of get into things. And he was the only one I really would talk to in jail. I mean, I talk to other people, don't get me wrong. Like, you know, I ain't antisocial, but he was the one I really got close with as far as letting them know who I am. So, me and him got real acquainted and stuff and things. And cool cat, man. Like, real cool dude, man. Down to earth, man. Really into the word and things. So, he really taught me a few things as far as, you know, reading the Bible and the Quran and things. So, you know, I was really into that with him. So, you know, we would do our little sessions and things and kind of talk about, you know, things we go through and stuff. And, you know, he's married, by the way. He has, you know, I don't mean to tell my boy's business, you know, he has a beautiful wife and he's, you know, him and his wife doing good. You know, ain't nothing bad. I'm not about to get into that because ain't nothing bad going on. It's just, you know, situation. But so he was just kind of get into that, you know, letting me know and things and telling me what they go through and things, you know, and he was telling me, he's like, y'all ain't never been through nothing yet. He's like, so how y'all really know if y'all in love? You know what I'm saying? He's like, this right here is that proof. And if you still love her when you get out of here, then, hey, then you know. So I understood that, but I was like, you know, I'm thinking I don't want to be with her. You know, fuck her. I'm saying all that. I'm mad. He's like, nah. He's like, you say that now, but when you get out of here, you gonna call her and you gonna think about it. And sure enough, I got home. I got out. I didn't even think about her though at all. But I'm sitting there thinking about nigga getting a drink, and that's the first thing I'm like, I'm about to go drink. So I come home. I walk in my apartment. So somehow my roommate ends up back over here. I get into that. That's another story. Another fucking story for another day. I know. How did she end up back over here when you put her out and she done got you and your girlfriend left? Yeah, I know. But she pulled the okie doke on me and I really had no choice, okay? So, because I went to jail, so I needed my apartment. Like, I didn't want to get rid of my apartment, and, you know, so I needed to have a place to come home when I got out. So I had to let her stay here because I got the okie doke. She offered to Dropped the charges and affidavit and all the extra shit to kind of get into details. So I was like, fuck. I really had no choice at the time. I didn't really tell her what was going on with me and my girl. So I was like, whatever. I was like, you can stay here, whatever, how long you need. And after that, we need to really go our separate ways. You know, because at that point, I really felt like, you know, me and my girl, we were done. You know what I'm saying? I mean, other than that, I was like, bitch, you better find something else to do. Yeah. So she back. Like I was saying, you know, like, again, I had no choice type things because of the circumstances. Like I said, you know, she told me, you know, that she wanted to come back basically because, you know, the situation she had going on at her mom's house. I didn't even know where the fuck she was staying. You know what I'm saying? So, because, again, we weren't talking. So, you know, I just, you know, I don't know. Maybe she felt like she knew what the fuck was going on. I don't fucking know. But, so literally out of nowhere, you know, so with the situation, like I said, me and my girlfriend, you know, at the time I felt like, you know, we were already done. So I was like, you know, you can come back over here, figure your shit out. And, you know, like I said, after that, we go our separate ways. But not only, you know, when she was over here, I allowed her to play with my head a little bit. You know, she already don't like, you know, my girl, you know what I'm saying? My girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, already, which I should have known. And then she never wanted us together anyway. I should have known, because when she found out we weren't together, she talked so much shit about her, and you know what I'm saying? I'm defending her, of course. That's my girl. I ain't gonna let you talk. I ain't gonna let nobody talk shit about her, nigga. So, you know what I'm saying? Together or not, motherfucker. Like, anyway. So, with that said, me being a fool, I'm drinking. I'm already on a 12-pack, my second 12-pack. So I'm damn near going through a 24 already, nigga. So, like I said, I picked up a drinking problem because of her. And then she already over here. And then I'm drinking already. And then as I'm drinking, she's telling me stuff that she supposedly, that, or maybe, you know, that she believed. I don't know. It could be true. I don't know. But I felt like I should have known better to believe her when she was already lying on me in the first place, and I already knew the fact that she was already a hater. So she was telling me that she was seeing, you know, my girl up there talking to all kinds of niggas. You know what I'm saying? Especially one nigga I couldn't fucking stand. Like, I wanted to put him in the ground. You know why? Because I saw him staring her up and down, nigga, like, just really disrespectfully. It's one thing a nigga get a look and move around, but he was like really just staring, and it made me uncomfortable. You feel me? Because like I said, my girl fine. Niggas gonna look. I know. I ain't that type of nigga. Like, I know what I got. You feel me? Or had. So, I wasn't tripping. You know what I'm saying? Niggas gonna look. So, but with that said, that shit kind of pissed me off. I was gonna say something to him, but the fact that we was at work and I didn't want to cause a scene in front of everybody, and we were doing the morning meeting, but that nigga was about to get done in. Believe it. And I hope you see this motherfucker, because you know who you are. But with that said, and I don't appreciate... Yeah. And I don't appreciate you going to lunch and eating with that nigga either. At all. And you fucking knew I couldn't stand that motherfucker. But I digress. That was fucked up. It was fucked up for your homegirl for putting that on social media, knowing what the fuck was going on. She knew. The shit was all on purpose, I felt like. And I felt like it was a fucking kick in my face. That's how I felt. I didn't appreciate it. But I love you. So, with that said, you know, I called her. Drunk, being stupid, you know what I'm saying? Probably shouldn't have. And I'm going in dumb as fuck. And I can apologize to you so many times, girl, for what the fuck I did, but there's no words for it. Not only do I owe you apology, I owe your fucking family apology, I owe your dad and your stepmom, hell, your kids, hell, even that nigga. And I don't even, you know, but just the simple fact that the shit happened, and I get it. Feel me? So, you know, and my thing is, I ain't gonna sit here and apologize on none shit. I'm a man. I'm gonna come to y'all face to face, and I'm gonna let y'all know what's up. You feel me? Because I felt like I was kind of treated unfairly and like a crazy ass Tyler Perry nigga from a movie, which is fair. It's fair, and I get it. However, that's not me. So, and I just want y'all to understand where I was coming from, especially her father. You feel me? Like, you know, I would, nigga, look. If it was my daughter, I get it. I would have fucking went in on some niggas. So, it's all right. You had one free one that night. So, with that said, but it didn't happen. So, with that said, yeah. So, again, that's what happened with that situation. So, she here. You feel me? You know, just putting all kinds of seeds, planting shit in my head. Probably wasn't even true, but I'm already fucking drinking and letting my head fuck with me already. Because again, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff was happening all at once. I'm being emotional. I'm drinking. You know, I don't know why, and I really feel like, you know, like, I'm not trying to make excuses, and I'm really not, but that's just how I was kind of dealing with this situation, and it's not fair to her, but it's the truth. And again, you know, and that wasn't fair, you know, of me, and it was selfish. And like I said, I should have took time to step away, you know, knowing that, you know, we were still good and we probably would have still been talking to each other, and you probably would have been fucking with me more because you would have seen that, you know, I'm a real nigga, which I am, but, you know, even more, you dig? So, and then you could have figured out your shit too or whatever, you know? But I didn't. Or I could have just been a strong nigga. Again, I didn't. You feel me? I was trying, you know what I'm saying? But, I mean, circumstances. So, you know. So I was kind of like, you know, just, man, you know, and I didn't have anything to do. I remind you guys, I'm at home every day, and I'm a working man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a nigga who sit at home all day, you know, smoke weed and shit, play video games. I don't do none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm a musician. I play guitar. You know what I'm saying? I produce music. You know what I'm saying? I skateboard. You know, I do active shit. You know, the only time I'm sitting down is when I'm in front of a computer. You know what I'm saying? Or doing this. So, you know, it was kind of weird, you know, me trying to find something to do. And at the time, I wasn't even producing music. I was barely playing my guitar, simply because, you know, it wasn't something I was really like into, like not into anymore, but just it kind of came a backseat because it's like, you know, again, I'm 37. I'm trying to get my shit together. You feel me? You know, I'm trying to set my future up. You know, there's things I want. So, you know, music took a backseat basically. I didn't really start you know, getting really passionate about music again until she came around. So, you know, that's another thing. You know, I don't think she even know nigga could produce. I'm gonna sing you some beats, goddammit. So, because, you know, there's a lot of things I wanted to show her. I really, you know, I feel like, you know, she still got time to get to know a nigga, you know, and there's the side she saw is like, that wasn't me. And that again, that's not an excuse. And, you know, and I don't want you to feel like that's who I am, because it's not. There's so much to me more than just that. And that's something that's the side, like, not even a side, because I don't have sides. I want you to see who I am, you dig? Like, that was just some shit I was going through. And you just so happened, and I was stringing you along with that, and I apologize. So, with that said, I was drinking. It's not, I gotta edit that out. So with that said, you know, again, like, shit kind of just, you know, I'm still trying to figure it out, you know, like, because again, you know, like I said, I was in jail. I wasn't, you know, trying to think about any of this stuff, you know what I mean? Because like I said, I want to hate her. But, you know, in reality. So, she had every right. But with that said, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, basically where that went as far as me being wrong. And then, you know, with the text messages and shit, you feel me? And, you know, like I said, there's things that, you know, I have questions too, but at the point, I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, you know, and then again, who knows? I mean, she was mad at me at the time, and I'm sure if I would have asked her, she probably would have, you know, told me. But I asked her at the wrong time. She was already pissed off at me. She didn't want to fucking talk to me at the time. And then me coming in asking her where the fuck she was going, all this, you know, shit like that. You dig? Like, who the fuck am I at that point to really be questioning her? You feel me? But I did. So, but with that said, it just led to one thing, you know, and I'm already drinking. Again, I'm day drinking and shit, night drinking, like, just, man, like, yeah. But like I said, I don't have a drinking problem. I'm not a fucking alcoholic. It's just, it was leading to the fact that, like I was saying earlier, you know, I started drinking, you know, around, you know, I drink already, but I was really drinking when this shit was going on, and it just was going up, you know. It took away I felt it took away the stress and the stuff that I was feeling with for me, but really it wasn't, you know. It was numbing the shit, not really dealing with the situation, you dig?